Welcome back to my channel. I'm Angie and this is Our Contented Home. Y'all absolutely blew me away with how much you loved my upcycling video. So today I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna be working on several thrifted items today. And so let's get started and let me show you what I'm gonna be doing today. The first thing is this wooden tabletop. I just found it and it doesn't have any legs on it. It was just the top. But I thought that it was so pretty and I knew that I could do something with it. I just needed for inspiration to hit. And it did. For this project, I picked up this round wooden disc and I also picked up this Lazy Susan hardware from Hobby Lobby. They also have this in a larger size. Our tabletop had this wood on the bottom of it where the legs were attached at one time. And so we decided to use this to our advantage. And my husband just took these two pieces and put them on the board at a different angle. And this way, our Lazy Susan hardware would line up properly with this wood, and this would keep him from drilling through the board. Then he took the hardware and lined it up onto those wood pieces and just put a mark where the screw needed to go. He then drilled a pilot hole into these wooden pieces so that way they won't split when he puts the screw in. He did this all the way around. Then he took the Lazy Susan hardware and marked the holes in this small piece of wood. This was a softer piece of wood, so he also drilled pilot holes in this for the screw. Then he took a larger drill bit and drilled a hole completely through this round wooden disc. He flipped it over and put it onto his board, and this hole allows him to screw in the Lazy Susan hardware from the bottom, and then this round disc covers up all of the hardware. This just rotates and he's able to screw it in. I found these felt pads in my stash, and so I just took them and covered up the hole, and this also protects the surface that you put the Lazy Susan on. The next thing I'm going to be working on is this sign. You can find these signs for so inexpensive, and they've already got the frame built. All you have to do is do something with this. You might like that, but those colors don't fit into my home, and so I'm going to upcycle it. I start this project by taping off all the wood parts of this frame. I just want to cover every part that's wooden so that I don't get any paint on it. And then I take paint, I got this from Michael's, it's called Primitive, and I just give it 2 full coats of this color to cover up the wording. For this part, I'm using these beads that I picked up at a yard sale several months ago, and I'm just gluing them on the canvas. And what I'm going to do is put them on in the shape of a pumpkin. For this part, I mixed up some red and yellow paint and made it orange. This was a little bit too bright of an orange for me, so I just added a little bit of brown to kind of tone it down a little bit, and then I dry brushed that paint onto my beads. The next thing I'm going to do, I found this, and I don't think that the birds are showing as much as they should be. So I'm going to redo that, put more emphasis on those birds, and turn it into something stunning. For this project, I'm just using the color Coal Black Infusion Mineral Paint, And what I wanted to do was give it just a black wash, and so I watered down my paint and painted it on and then wiped it off. But it wasn't dark enough for me, so I went over it again, making sure that I got in all of the crevices of the birds just to highlight it and make it stand out. And I did this a total of 3 times and wiped it back, and it still wasn't really like I had envisioned it. I wanted it to be a little bit darker around the birds. This is a really good process if you're doing anything on wood. You just give it a black wash. But I decided to just paint the whole thing black and then wax it with white wax so that I could bring out the details of these birds. And I just use this white wax. I rub it on and get it all into the crevices. And then you just wipe the excess off, and then your wax stays in all of the grooves. And then this is such a nice matted frame, and these can be so expensive. This does not really fit in my house. It's very modern, and I want to add something to it with a pop of color and something I can use in my home. For this project, I want to disassemble the whole thing and put another picture in it. And so I start by using my X-Acto knife to cut away the back. And then I just do this carefully because I'm going to put it back on. And then I just take everything apart. I just pry up these staples that are holding it in. And it's not very hard to do this. You just take it all apart. And then I'm going to replace it with a picture that I have. I found this old book at the thrift store. It's an old Currier and Ives book, and it's full of beautiful prints. So I picked this one out. I thought it was perfect for fall, and I want to incorporate this into my frame and put it in my house for fall. So I just cut it out with the X-Acto knife, place it on the mat, and then pop it back into my frame. I then put the back on it again with hot glue, and it just secures it back down nice and neat. When I flipped it back over, I decided the frame was not really the color that I wanted it to be. So I covered the glass with paper and got out my trusty rub and buff and gave it one little coat of my rub and buff just with a brush, and then I buff it back off. And then last but not least, I bought this several months ago. It's just an art box. Has some art supplies in it. So we're gonna redo it and make it into something beautiful that I can display. I started by taking off all the hardware on this box. I knew that I wanted to reuse it, so I kept it in a safe place so that I could put it back on when I finish. And it's just a regular wooden box. You could leave it like this, paint it, stain it. But I decided to use my marble contact paper. I've used this in another upcycling project that I'll link below in case you're interested in that. I just cut 2 pieces, one for the top and one for the bottom. And then to get this sticker off, I use my hair dryer, which works wonders. You just heat it up for a few seconds and then peel it off. Comes off really easily. And then I use my goof off to get off all of that sticky residue. This works well too. And then I just took my contact paper, and this works better for me when I secure it to the back and then just pull a little bit of the backing off at a time. and then just smooth it out with my hand, and then you take some type of credit card or some kind of card and just smooth out all the air bubbles, and then you just pull it gradually at the time, and this works so well. It goes on so smooth, and it's just really easy to do. I took the ends and I tucked them under, and then on the sides, I just wrapped it like I was wrapping a gift. You just tuck it in and then fold it in, just like gift wrapping. And then I just cut off the excess on the back, smoothed it out, and then I did the same thing on the back of it. Just pull it gradually, and if you do this, it'll work out great. Same thing on the ends, just wrap it like you're wrapping a gift. And then for my hardware, it was kind of beat up, so I took my rub and buff again. I love this stuff. And I put it all over my hardware, and then I just gave it a quick buff with a paper towel. So let me know in the comments which upcycled item was your favorite. And if you love this video, give me a thumbs up and let me know so that I can make more. Also, if you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Our Contented Home. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.